Red Sox Review, KJ here on WEEI, winding things down here. Tyler Wade, boy, let's just say if they're at a pizza parlor right now, his dad is still yelling through the glass. Before we got out of here, let's go to Mike in Connecticut. Thanks for calling Red Sox Review. You're on. Thank you so much, and hope you're having a great Sunday.
Thank you, KJ. You know, they can get all the fans back, KJ. Go all in. It's not like they got to give up the farm to get Ohtani. The Angels are going to have to trade him because there is no way they can let him walk and not get anything for the guy, because the Giants and the Dodgers will definitely outbid him. And so they got to, if they can get him, like you said, you're going to get a pitcher. He gets him over the top. And what do you think they would have to give up to get him, though, KJ?
Mike, honestly, at this point, nothing, because I don't believe that the high price of any other team is going to convince Ohtani more so than potentially a comfort of being with a teammate, a player that he has experience with back in Japan. Like, people say, well, why would he take the highest price? Because that's how we think here in America. But you also forget. Right, but you think about even Aaron Judge didn't take the highest deal, right? San Francisco offered him more money, but his heart wanted to stay with the Yankees. That's why I don't believe that, hey, whoever has the most money is going to bring Yoshida in. I mean, he's already there in California. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean now for the rest of the year. They cannot take a chance and not get nothing for the guy.
Yeah, but
it's not like you're going to have to give up Meyer for him.
I think so let's just say and I think it would be absolutely nuts to do it now, because you're in a position to get to where you want to get to now. You're not trying to win the division. You're not like, okay, someone's chomping at the bit. You're not like someone like Atlanta where you might be like, oh my gosh, suddenly things are going wrong and people are behind us. I think it's one of those situations. Let's just hypothetically go with the thought, Mike, that you say you go after him. I think Verdugo would be gone. Duvall would be gone. They would probably say either Meyer or Cassis has to be included. They would inquire about Bayo. They would inquire about Bayo. So I think it's just too much now. At this point, I would take my chances in free agency where I don't have to give up anything. Now, he may be a rental player for somewhere for the rest of the season, but I don't think it's going to be somewhere he stays. I don't think it's going to be somewhere where he stays. So I wouldn't be concerned if he goes somewhere as a rental player, but you still now have potentially the destination he wants to be. You know, New Balance has got 2 locations on Guest Street alone. Yeah. So, so I see where you're coming from, Mike, but I don't want to be. I don't want to be.
Let's rent him.
Look, but here's the thing. You don't want to operate in haste because, A, the team is not like, it's not like it's fighting for the first wild card spot. It just needs to get to the third one and then play Minnesota potentially. And then you're in the full-blown playoffs where anything can happen. So you don't want to give up the core and say, okay, well, Ohtani's here now and things could get worse because you don't have those other guys here. I say just wait until take your chances in free agency, go all in. You know, Yoshida would have had a full season here. He can have a conversation. That's when you pull in all the rank. Mike, I thank you for the call, but I got to get ready to run here. Let's get to a couple of text messages before we get out of here because we're up against it. What you got, Brian?
Yeah, so only a couple texters in today, but a lot of them going after Kike Hernandez. One of them saying trade Kike for anything. Another one, this is from Dan from Connecticut, saying a washed-up pitcher or an offensive liability catcher with defensive upside better than Kike. Again, Dan from Connecticut.
So the idea is that you want Kike gone.
Essentially, nobody wants Kike on their team anymore, which I can't blame them. But at the same time, like you look at it, it's like, well, what are you going to get for him?
Well, that's the other part of it. And the other part, sometimes I do this, is what does his numbers look like if he's the second baseman, right? Because if you're the shortstop, unless you've got this super duo up the middle where these guys are, defensive wizards, you'll make up the bats in other places. But you're like, oh, if Kike is the second baseman, then there's not as many errors, there's not as much liability. And the numbers are, while they're not still anything really good at all, they're not how can I best put this? It's not too much more than what you've been getting from that position for the last several years at second anyway. So if it's about Story being at short, and let's say you could put Kike at second, because at least he could play some other places. Duran's your center fielder of the future. Let's say Verdugo goes or something like that. Ohtani's in right. You've got Yoshida in left. Now you've got Devers at third. That's not so bad. But again, I don't think you can let go of anybody right now. Maybe find some small deals take some calls about Corey Kluber. Someone may want him to start, put people in seats versus, just letting him linger in the bullpen. Maybe some of these teams that are completely out of it have an arm that you have an eye on. Like I mentioned, Sears today looked fantastic for the A's. Hey, bro, have you checked out any places in the Back Bay while you're here? So